will be. Where I am going, you know the way. And Thomas said to him, Master, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? Jesus said to him, I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Please be seated. Pedro Ruiz was born on August 28th of 1934 in a huge metropolitan community known as Von Army. Otherwise known, I think, also as the Gaza Passing, or Man's Passing, or the Medina River Passing. And growing up, I can imagine what it must have been like, for him. And all the fun you must have had, because they can't, what do? You just hang around the river. And in the river, you only do two things. You swim or you fish, right? That's all you can do. You can't do very much with that. So he became a very avid fisherman. And I guess when I guess his, the oldest, he said, yes, and he probably told, this kid, Lily, where was my Lily? So she would tell Lily, and want a boy, Lily? And Lily said, well, we'll see, right? We'll see what's in the oven, right? And then what happened? Lily, what happened, Lily? It's Cindy, right? Did he blame you for that? Hope not. No, I said, hey, it's just as beautiful. It's okay, not a little boy, but just as beautiful. Can't send this one to the army, right? And so what happened? Fishing time. So if you couldn't take you're the oldest in it, so it doesn't matter boy or girl, you're still going to do what Dad tells you to do. And I know Dad probably depended upon you quite a bit. And as a result, and so did Mom, And after 8 children, I bet you depended on her quite a bit, a little bit of her. So it must have been a fun time, growing up in those days. Now, I'm not going to go too much into his military background because one of his sons is really going to do a tribute to his father in this area. So, growing up, obviously, being Mr. Ruiz, I met him back in 2003, 2004, really. I came from the Rio Grande Valley all the way so I could come and live in Bahama. Some of my friends, what were you thinking, right? So it's okay, Von is a great community. It's a great community of people. It's very close-knit. And it took me a little bit I had to kind of pry my way in there, but it took me a little bit to finally be accepted. And especially as a deacon. I'm a deacon from the valley, right? So, and I remember Mr. Ruiz, the first time I was being a providing father. This kid was called Rudy Corolla. And I saw this man always said it right about the middle of the pews. Always if I'm looking at the altar, he'd be to my left. He had the meanest look you could have. And didn't smile. I remember, going up to him and when he was going out, and then just said hello. He broke a smile. First time I saw Mr. Ruiz break a smile, so when I said hello to him. Now, he didn't sell me a car, Mr. Ruiz. He wasn't selling me a car. But I could tell he was very social, beyond his facade of this look he had. That he was a very social person, that he liked to have fun. And I know it was a Romeo and Juliet story between you and Pedro, right, Miss Lily? Like this family didn't like this family, and this mom didn't like you, and that mom didn't like him, and those kind of things. But love prevails, doesn't it? Amen. Love prevails. No matter how hard things are, no matter how difficult things can be, no matter how many barriers or walls are in our way, love, if you love each other unconditionally, it's always going to prevail. 64 and a half years. Wow. Not only that, you were a military wife. And as a military wife, I commend you. And I honor you for being the support and standing behind your husband as a soldier. And how important that must have been for him. And more so is when he left you to do his calling as his country, had asked him to do, to provide protection for those who he served. And that must have been difficult for you. And the worries as a military wife, the days today, and if anything, I know you prayed every day for him when he was away, every day. And probably encourage your children to do the same. And when he was there, he prayed every day. Every day in his life he prayed. Not only for those that he served and those who he cared for, but he prayed for his family as well, to leave them behind. And how important that was to him. And that began to shape his character around the love that he had for God. Because I know every moment that he thought, and he maybe sent him letters and those kind of things, and maybe the children would send him whatever it may have been, that began to instill in him, okay, Lord, you're hearing me. Okay, Lord, I'm still here. Okay, Lord, you're giving me another day. And how important that is. One of the things as a soldier, as soldiers prepare for combat, everyone's afraid. There's not a single man out there to tell you that they're not afraid. Every single soldier out there ready to face combat is afraid. And there was a very wise NCO, first sergeant. And we asked him, how do you overcome fear? And there's only one way to overcome fear. Is that you have to realize you're going to die. And the moment you as a soldier accept the fact that you're going to die, then you will function as a soldier. Because you don't know when it's coming, but if it's coming, at least you know it's coming. From now forward, you already know that's that, put that to your past, because you know it's coming, so don't worry about it anymore. Worry about what your function and your task is at hand, and nothing else. And then you'll function truly as a soldier. Jesus talks to us this way. We ask ourselves, how do I prepare to die? Because death inevitably is coming, whether we like it or not. It's coming to some of us maybe sooner than others. Death does not discriminate. Doesn't care you're white, black, brown, rich, poor, male or female, child or not. Death does not discriminate. And one of the things Jesus teaches us, in order for us to prepare to die, we have to live. And I think this is what Pedro did very well. He learned to live. Knowing the fact that he would die as a soldier one day maybe, but more so knowing the fact that I have to live and take every moment of my time and make it as precious and as valuable as possible. He may not have shown it to some of us. Some of us, because that's just the man. There may be some inner things that within himself that he still was fighting within his heart. But the one thing he knew is he could depend on always, regardless, is the love that God had for him. The unconditional love that God had for him. And he conveyed that love to others in his own way. Pedro, one of the things that he would do is he recite the rosary. And I know that he loved God. I know that he loved God. It's just seeing him next to Lily, how much that bond of that marriage, 64 years, I know, it's lo aguantó mucho, Mrs. Lily. But he would say, thank you, Lily. Thank you for putting up with me all these years. I know he said that. And, because sometimes, I know at the end he started to remember these words that he would say, yes, dear, right? And I said, yes, dear, whatever you want me to. Let's do it, whatever you want. because he began truly to see. That's when men grow up. Now, men, we don't get it sometimes, do we? Remember, men don't get it. Women do, but we don't. Because women our wives are much closer to God than men are. So you must have taught him a lot of things also. He heard you and he listened to you. He said, "Hey, well, we have to pray." Right? And I know that, sometimes, do we need to do it today? He says, yeah, we need to do it today. And he did. And he would. And there are times with the children, that because, again, his military background, I know he was a disciplinarian. I mean, that's what soldiers do. We're around discipline, and the things that we're told we do, we don't ask why. We do it. So, as a true soldier that he was, and then an NCO, and then infantry, good luck. Right? Because that's just his character. That was instilled in him. There was survivability for him. He wanted to instill in you those same survivability skills that he had, and how that works in life. And how important, because he wanted you to understand, we all are going to die, now let's live. Let's live. And that's important in life. Pedro, with 8 children, but they're pretty busy, right? So he loved to coach baseball, with the girls and the boys and the sons. So, that brought a sense of satisfaction. It brought a bond to the family. He loved, above all things, to go hunting as well. He loved the outdoors. I never saw, Pedro would be an indoor man. Because, again, infantry, we're bivouacking. We're out in the field. We're not behind a desk. So that's not the nature of who he was and who he became. And the other is the beauty of how he lived. To the Ruiz family, behalf of Our Lady Queen of Heaven, behalf of our Sacred Heart Church and Jesus, our deepest condolences go out to you. Our community lost a good man. Our nation lost a good man. The family lost a great husband and a great father. So, what I ask of you, you may once in a while think of, well, he did this and did this. And he had this fault and this fault. I think it was said earlier, and I heard it earlier this evening. He recognized all my faults. And I didn't get it until I truly recognized my own faults. And when I began to recognize my own faults, I understood his. And when we understand each other's faults, is when we begin to bond. Because we can set those faults aside and say, you ain't perfect either, and neither am I. But we can still love each other. So today, may Pedro Ruiz, our first sergeant, an infantryman, a devoted husband, a loving father, and a faithful Christian soldier that he is, may he rest in peace. Amen. First glorious mystery.